Okay, if can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So, okay, so thanks for joining. So I'm here to give a webinar on further after bachelor's. Yes. So to start with, I like to give a quick intro about myself. Myself is Annapurni Subramani, and sorry, I did my bachelor's in computer science at Panimala Engineering College. So I'm 2018 pass out. And yes, after my bachelor's, I came to Australia to do my master's in IT. So I chose RMIT University. So I'm actually, when I did my master, I was Melbourne based. So after my master's, so I graduated in my around July 2020. So it's a 2 years course. So once I completed that, I was looking for job and I got a job in regional Victoria. So it's almost again in the same state, but a different place. So I started working there as an IT officer. So I'm still doing the same role. And I'm also working as an industry fellow, like sort of a academic, casual academic staff at RMIT University. So this is my background, and I started there from Panimala, and it's my pleasure to be back there here. And yes, so what is this webinar about? So to this webinar, I'm going to give a glance of like how, what were the baby steps that I took to do my masters in Australia. So what is the procedure and what are the scope, like what is the scope here for masters and particularly in IT? So what are the areas that booming and what we need to do during our masters and after our masters. So this is sort of a quick glance that I want to give before starting this presentation, and sort of quick housekeeping rules. Like if you want, you can pause me anywhere. Just if you feel free to unmute yourself, and you can address me Anna, and feel free to ask your questions. So I don't want you guys to wait till the end of the session. I'm happy if you can stop me then and there. Okay, all good. Yeah. So I hope everybody are fine, and I'm just getting into the presentation. So yes, what are we up to? Yeah. So I hope everybody would be in either in your first or second or third, like, or maybe in your penultimate year. But the period which I started looking for my master's option was in my, if I could say, it was roughly around my second year end, when I was stepping into the third year, like sort of third year starting. I was looking for my options to study masters. So there was a choice of countries which I had, but to be frank, I want to tell like why I ended up in Australia is like I'm so sensitive to weather and I can't bear so much of cold. So that's the reason I chose Australia, because here the weather is moderate. Even during the winters, it used to be like a moderate sort of where we can manage. Being a person from Chennai, where I've been almost like born, grown up every there, I've been around like 40 to 45 degrees. So I really don't want to go to any place where there is snow. So I thought, okay, somewhat near to my place. So that's the only reason that I chose Australia, to be frank. But after coming here, I realized that Australian education is among like in the top 100. So we have nearly like 8 to 10 ranking best colleges in top 100 in world level. And I was supposed to be doing a course which was in the top 100 level as well. So that I really don't know. And when I came there, I didn't have much place to go and attend sort of brainstorming sessions. But now, as the technology has grown and everything has been like, we are getting all the things on the just on our laptop. So this is right spot where I want to bring the light to here. So after your bachelor education, what would you be having is maybe like you may have the experience handling different technologies and all the coursework. Like we used to do nearly 6 course units every semester where we cover a lot of technology and the in-depth knowledge. Being in the Indian education system, to be frank, like when I compare the Indian education system and the Australian education system, we really have an in-depth knowledge of everything. So I can see the difference between the Australian education system and the Indian education system. Even though Indian education system is more of a theoretical base, we have an we have an in-depth knowledge of the concepts. So the depth knowledge and the experience will help us either choose going to the graduate study or joining the workforce. So most people chose joining the workforce, and few people move on to the graduate study. But touching base on the graduate study, I really want to tell you like what are the opportunities that you get after your graduate study. So we are doing a bachelor's in computer science. So just consider my case. I did my bachelor's in computer science, where I had like sort of few areas that I want to explore, like sort of cloud, and I also wanted to explore in also in programming. So I was about like juggling between the cloud and the programming, and I was not sure which area should I step into. But when I did my masters, I practically worked on that. I worked on Google Cloud Platform. I worked on Amazon Web, and so that gave me an in-depth knowledge. So I started my career there with the baby steps from there. So this graduate study, the masters, I mean the postgraduate study after my undergraduate, that is my bachelor, gave me the difference, where I ended up like, okay, this is my career, this is where I have to be, this is what I have to keep doing. I found the field that I wanted. So that clarity I really got after doing my graduate. And when talking about choosing your masters, so there is a first thing and the foremost thing that you need to do: choosing your stream. So basically in India we do like if we did in 11th and 12th standard, if you do a computer science group, we go end up doing engineering. But here, even if you're engineering and computer science, you have the freedom of doing any course that you like. If you're willing to do a game designing, you can still do a game designing in masters. If you're willing to do cyber security in your masters, you can do that. If you're willing to skip to electronics, you can do that. So you can choose your free, you can choose your stream, and you have the complete freedom for that. So the first thing you need to do is identify your interest. So I did computer science in my bachelor's, but I chose IT in my masters. So the reason behind that is, in IT there are a lot of programming courses like which I wanted to explore, and I also had an experience to work on the cloud platform. So that's the main reason that I chose my stream as IT. So I followed my interest and I followed my passion. And finally, you need to, like what I mentioned, once you find the interest, you need to research on the scope. So what is the scope for this course? Like, does it have any high job opportunities, or this course doesn't have any opportunities? So it's not that I came to Australia and I studied here. It's not going to be like that I'm going to stay here and work here only. I may move to any country at any point. I can come back to India at any point. I just want to know that whether this stream has high job opportunities. So that's the major thing that anybody, when you're choosing your stream, I would like to enforce that you guys do that research. So whether you have the job opportunity for that field, and if you're going to stay in Australia, so make sure your job is in the skilled occupation list. So what a skilled occupation list is nothing but sort of like whether this job is going to be like in the market for the next 3 to 5 years. So we have a list in Australia called a skilled occupation list, where they list the number of jobs, like list the job areas that are in the list every time. So we just want to make sure that the job, like for example, if I chose IT, I want to make sure that whether IT is going to stay in the skill list for the next 5 to 10 years, so that I can have my career in the same field. And another thing, whether this field is in need. So in today's world, everything are how we are around COVID, and the most needed field is medical field. But there are other fields that support medical field, like cyber security, because most things are now bankrupted, corrupted, or anything is having a lot of issues around the world. So this cyber security is again a booming field in Australia. So we need to find whether what is the field in the need. And there are professional people who we can meet and discuss about that. So sort of like there are many educational consultancies in and around India, in and around Chennai, everywhere. So if you do a Google search, you get a lot of educational consultancies, and you can mention which is your target country and which is your target field that you're going to work on in your future, and they may suggest you courses. And from that, you can pick and follow your passion. So these are the major things that you need to consider when you choose your stream. So I really like what I said when I came here. I thought, okay, I wanted to explore this, so I did I did find my interest. I did research the scope and I followed the passion. And I met, then finally only I met the professional and discuss. But I missed few points like whether there are job opportunities, whether the field is in need, whether it's in the skilled occupation list. But after coming here and after meeting people here, only I came to know that many people did research on those things. But I want to make sure that when you are choosing your degree, you do these things. And yes, so Australian education, so these are the fields that are most popular here: information technology, data science, data analytics, science, environment science, business management, commerce, accounting, finance, humanities, law, engineering, technology, health sciences, medicine, etc. And our information technology, computer science, and all these things come under the STEM field. So STEM is always a want in Australia. Even when if you're thinking about getting a permanent residency and settling in Australia, STEM field is the most thing that this never removed, and PR is granted for those people. And all the IT and the computer science come under the STEM field. And yes, so this booming IT is about like what are the cores I said as like masters in cybersecurity, because like cybersecurity is the most booming field when we talk about like Australia. And sometimes I realize that why didn't I do a course in master in cybersecurity, and I really want to upgrade as well in doing a cybersecurity course, because it's the thing that rise in and around always in the field. And the next is the information technology, the course that I did. And we have courses here like business information management and system. I think so even in Panimala we have got a bachelor degree related to the business field there now. But it was not there when we were there, but now it's there. Similarly, the Master of Science, Computing Science. So this is the computer science degree, normal masters in computer science. So the masters in information and communication technology is a sort of mix of IT and ECE. So you have both the communication knowledge and the IT knowledge. And masters of management information system, so this is like doing an MBA in IT, doing an MBA in information system. So, and data science and data analytics, so this is again a booming thing that never like we always have. I've seen hundreds of people joining this course every semester, every intake. So the most I've just brought in the slides only the areas that are most booming, but there are other courses like artificial intelligence where people are wanted most, but only people who have excelled with, and people who have a lot of interest pick that field, because if you got a pure interest, you can surely get into the course. I would really recommend you going there. But to be frank, these are the courses that are booming, and I've seen people there. And yes, talking about, I mentioned right, Australia has few universities that top in the world's 100 top 100. So these are few universities that I could list down. And apart from that, but when about talking about university, I would say better go finding the place where you want to live and then find the university around there. That would be the best option. So I followed that basically. So I wanted to live in Melbourne and I wanted to study in Melbourne, because Melbourne is a sort of place, Melbourne, Sydney. So these places are sort of places similar to Chennai. So I don't want to have a feel where I miss my family. So I chose this place and then I chose the university. But if you want to be in the top 10 top universities, then these are some universities that you have as an option, and they are it's very really tough getting into those universities. But really, to be frank, starting with here, they don't have any entry requirements. Like if you get 90%, you get into this university. So no university asks for what's your undergraduate mark unless you have satisfied the 65 percentage. So it's not like if you get a CGPA of 8.5 or 8.9, you get a seat in the top 100. It's purely based on your passion and what what you write in your statement of purpose, like why do you want to apply to this university, purely based on your passion and all the entry requirements like your IELTS. If your IELTS is satisfied, English core is satisfied, you get a seat there. But if you have a good percentage, you get a scholarship there. So because like the Australian degrees are a little bit expensive, but not very expensive when compared to the US or other Canadian degrees. But Australian is sort of a mid-level cost related universities. But if you get a scholarship, that would be really helpful. And what helps you get the scholarship is your undergrad mark or your experience in your work. So that helps you get your scholarship. So yes, like what I mentioned, when choosing a university, make sure you find the course structure. Like coming to my scenario, if you can ask me like why I chose RMIT. So I mentioned, right, I did my master's in RMIT University. So you can ask me like why I chose RMIT University, because the course structure I really like there. So in few university, what they have is they ask you to complete the mandatory 16 courses where you don't have your choice to find your courses. But in my university, they give you just mandatory 4 courses or 6 courses that we need to complete in the first semester. And in the upcoming semester, you have elective units, like which you can choose according to your like your passion or your interest. So that's the thing that I really liked about upon choosing RMIT University. And the second thing is we need to find if your course is accredited. So why we need to see this is like when we are applying for a permanent residency, or when we are planning to accredit a degree, like saying that this person has completed masters in IT and her degree is accredited. When will that happen is because if my course is accredited, only my degree will get accredited. So what is that sense means, this course has been running for these many years, maybe like 5 to 10 years span, and all the students who are coming out of the course and the university are of qualitative and quantitative, and in both the cases. So they have always they have a standard number of students, and whatever they do after the education is also good. So in that case only the university gets an accreditation. Similar, like I think so all even undergraduate universities in Chennai are now accredited. Most university are Anna University, under Anna University are now accredited. Similarly, here if you find to choose your course in an accredited university, that's a bonus point. And you can also see how your university is ranked. And if you like to go into top 10 universities, then it's your choice. So that's again area you like to consider, and your university location. So what plays a role in the university location is, for example, if you chose it in a prime location like Melbourne, Sydney, you can build a lot of networks. So building a lot of networks help you gain a lot of professional people, like meeting a lot of people that may help in your job. So basically in Australia, getting a job is how many people you know, and you get to know all the jobs only through word of mouth, most cases. Yes, we have job sites that post job, but most jobs are through word of mouth, saying like, oh, there is a job there, do you want to apply? Yes. Do you know somebody? Yes, I know them. And they actually see if the person is really and truly of the required nature, and if they satisfy the required quality, then only they give the job. So for this only I say choose your university in a good location where you can build and work on your professional network, and as well as your network, it can be a network. So meeting people, talking with them, building relationships is very important in Australia, and particularly your university location plays a major role. And the second reason why I say university location is, if you choose your location in regional area. So coming to be like I want to give a quick idea is like in Australia we have two categories. Every state is divided into metropolitan and regional. Like for example, Chennai is a metropolitan place, and the outskirts like Melmarvatur, Tambaram, and outskirts, they are called the regional areas, where the people count is very less, and sort of like which still needs to be developed. So those are the regional areas. Similarly, in Australia, we have two things: metropolitan areas and the regional areas. So people, if they study, live, and work in regional area, they get an additional points when they apply to their permanent residency, and they get an extra year in their temporary graduate visa. Like that's called the visa after your student visa. So your university location plays a prime point when you are choosing the course and where you're going to study, and see if there are any scholarship available. So most university, and now they are offering around 20 to 25% scholarship, or like in your tuition fee, like if you're going to pay 60 to $70,000 tuition fee for the 2 year, they may give you 20 to 25%, which you can reduce and pay. Or like I got a scholarship on my cost of living. So every semester they used to give us $2,500 for a cost of living, which we can use. So see what are the scholarship options available. So even a single penny matters when you are abroad, because it's all really expensive when compared to India. And so see if there are any scholarships available, and that is another reason that you need to consider. And the fees, because here when you go for any job interview or anything, they never ask you which college you studied from. But back in many places around the country, they may ask you like which course did you do and which university did you study from. But in Australia, they never even ask your academic transcript. They just ask you like, have you passed, have you done a degree? That's the only question they ask you. But they never ask you what course have you done, and from which university have you done, and from what marks have you got. So also it's also a better option, and thinking wisely to find a university which we can afford. So these are the criteria that you need to consider when selecting a course. And yes, for applying a degree, what would be the requirement? So you should have completed, by the time you join the course, you should have completed your bachelor degree. But you are encouraged to apply from your third semester end, which like sixth semester end, where you get your course like sixth semester, academic transcript of all the 6 semesters. So and once when you join the course, you need to have your course completion certificate. So which means that your bachelor degree is just a eligible criteria, but it doesn't mean that what marks you have got. And if you have a person, you're like, if you are having any work experience, or if you're planning to study after 2 years of experience, then even your work experience counts. So in that case, you can leave your bachelor degree and just use your proof of experience, because already you would have accredited your bachelor degree by working in a place. So proof of experience, and you need to take an English language test. So there are various options like IELTS, PT, TOEFL. So Australia requires like basic, that is a 6.5, which I think everybody can clear, almost everybody. So they just only require the basic, and they don't have an high entry requirement, just a basic 6.5. And they also need your references, sort of a professional reference if you're working in an organization like your manager or anybody sort of there. Or if you're going to study after immediately like your bachelor, your lecturer. So I think so. I got it from a HOD ma'am and our other staffs. So your lecturers are, and sort of that is a reference is again a requirement. And the next thing, as I said, in when doing master, it's not indeed that if you did a computer science degree, you need to do your master's in computer science. It's not like that. You can still choose your master. Like for example, I've seen people who did bachelor's in law are now doing bachelor's in law now doing masters in IT. And I've seen people who have done bachelor's in computer science and now doing a designing course. So whatever you like to work on, whatever you like to have your next 40 years, whatever you like to have in your next 40 years as your career. So if you choose your stream different from what you have done, then you need to justify it in your statement of purpose. So these are the eligible things that you need to have to apply for a course. And if intake, so most universities have only 2 intakes. One is in late October, for which you need to one is in which they started around November, and for that you need to apply by October. And other one is you need to apply between like April and May. But the academic here is like your first semester starts in February, and it goes for 3 months till June. Then you have a month break again from June to July, and you start your semester in July and you finish it in November. So here we have 4 months of holiday after a degree, like after every academic year. So in 1 year you have 2 semesters. So each semester is 3 months. So it starts in February, you have a semester break for 1 month or 20 days. Then you start the next semester, and you have four months of semester break. So that's called as the summer break. So what is the purpose of the summer break? Is people here, they do their work in the summer. So like sort of like I did my master's in IT and I used to work as sort of in my field in IT, like a work integrated learning internship. So we call it as a work integrated learning internship, where we learn and we work. And we work there for 3 months, and that 3 months is now considered as a course, and we get marks for that. So we do a credit transfer in a course and we drop a course. Like we are asked to complete 16 units. But if you do an internship, you can drop 1 unit and then you can take this internship as a unit. So like in India, we used to have internships, or we used to go for an internship in a semester break, but that doesn't count for our studies, right? But here, most universities and most countries, they have this option. You can do a internship, you can learn where you work and learn, and you take that experience as a course unit and you drop one of the subject. So most people do that here, and it's a sort of building a professional network, having an experience and dropping a course. So sort of like getting three things in one just one thing. And yes, coming back to visa, when you apply as a student, you get 2 years to stay and study in Australia. So it can be like it starts like, for example, if it starts in July 2020, it goes till 2022 next year, after 2 years till the July. So roughly around 24 months, you get a student visa. So once your student visa is over, you have to apply for your temporary graduate visa, where you should have completed your degree and passed it. So if you have passed it and you've covered all the requirements, you get usually 2 years of temporary postgraduate visa, where you can still study or you can work. But if you, like I said, right, there is a bonus if you live in regional areas. So if you live in regional areas, you get an extra year in your temporary graduate visa. So usually it's a 2+2 combo, or it's a 2+3 combo. So if you come here to study, you can stay here around for the next 4 years if you wish to. So I just want to pause here and make sure if people are able to follow me. Any questions up to here? So feel free to just jump in, and if you like to ask any questions. Yeah, thanks, Gokulnath. Yes, give a reaction. So can I get to know whether, like, are you able to follow me, or you want to ask any questions, or can I go ahead and continue? Sorry?
No notes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. All good. So I'll just go ahead and continue. So if you want, you can pause me anywhere if you feel like. Yes. Okay. So yes, the cost of studying, I told, like as I mentioned before, Australia is not too expensive when comparing to masters. So it's something roughly between 22,000 to 50,000 per year. Most probably, when if you combine both the years, you would be paying around like 30 lakhs to 40 lakhs. So that's the maximum. 40 lakhs, what I have heard is like 45 to 50 are the maximum. But if you go for top universities like what I listed before in the presentation, they are a little bit high, where as I mentioned, it is a top university, the fees is a little bit high there. But the moderate universities, the fees would be around like 30 to 40 lakhs. And as I mentioned, so you get a scholarship based on either your marks, or based on your experience, or based on your interest. If the people who are assessing your application, they feel that this person is really interested in doing the master, they give you a scholarship. And so you have to apply for the scholarship. And also it's like a first in, first out, like who comes first, they get that served. And also there are features like also there are like scholarships like cost of living, like which I got and few of my friends got, and few of my other friends got scholarships and tuition fees. So most university, out of what I know, most out of like if there are like 100 students, the who apply, and if like for the first 20 to 30 students who join, and if they are really their application satisfy those needs, they get a scholarship. So it's again like how early you apply. So for example, I started my masters in July 2018, but I applied in January. So I got the seat in I got the course application confirmed in by the end of the January. So around like 4 to 5 months before I got it. And since that's one of the reasons that I got the scholarship there. So I applied early, and they could have checked my percentage, and if they would be really happy if you maintain a decent percentage around like 75 to 80. Again, they don't expect in Australia, they never see what your marks is, and they never see who we are, anything. They just don't know anything about a profile. Just a student number is only the thing that we carry along with us. So, and they don't even see if this person is getting an HD, or I mean 90 percentage, or he's getting 80 percentage. They never see that. They just see whether we have a decent score. The eligibility criteria is maintained. And yes, during Australian, like what I did during my master's study in Australia is like building. The first thing that I would like to mention is about building your professional network. I think there have been a lot of sessions that you are having every time about LinkedIn. Yes, that LinkedIn really helped me build a network, because like when I came here, I didn't know much people, like other than my friends, because I already came together with a bunch of friends from India. Almost everybody from Panimala, from different departments. So like computer science, EC, and E&I. So we all came together. So we didn't have a chance to build our network before coming here. But after coming here and starting a master's, there was really a need where I have to build my network, because when I'm out of the uni, I don't know anybody apart from my friends. So the thing that helped me really build my networks was LinkedIn and Meetup. So what I know, everybody would be aware of LinkedIn, but this Meetup is sort of a professional association where we have sort of every day in and around the place. Like I was living in around Melbourne. So in and around the Melbourne, there used to happen lot of meetups. So it can be either at a church, it can be either at a cafe, it can be either at a university, it can be either at a park, it can be either at a library, where it will be listed in this meetup app, where you can meet people, like-minded people. Like for example, I had an interest in cloud. So there used to be people coming there and doing sort of like what we do now, webinar. They used to do that, and they used to show up what their work they have done. So seeing that, I got a lot of ideas that I needed to work on, and I started building professional networks where gradually I started developing something, and I started going and presenting there. So that's how I started building my professional network. And one thing that helped was LinkedIn, and the other thing was Meetup. And similar to like how we are paired with the counselor in Panimala, usually a university offers you a mentor. You can find your mentor. So there would be a list of mentors, and you can give your expression of interest for a particular mentor. And if the mentor likes to mentee you, then they select you, and you meet them weekly once, and they share their experience. They give you ideas where you can work on. And the best thing that one I really liked about Australia, to be frank, where I had a lot of dislikes also, but the one thing that really liked about Australia is volunteer while you learn. So you volunteer. There are a lot of things that they have as a volunteer opportunity. It's something like we work for them, but they don't pay us. But the thing which we take as a pay is our experience. So everybody, like people who I know from my friends back from India or friends here, everybody have been a volunteer any place. University has voluntary opportunities, and many government organization or not for profitable organization have a volunteer opportunity. Like at the first point, nobody will give you a website and ask you to maintain, because everything is really like tougher if it is given to a starter, like a fresher. But if you volunteer, people show how to work, they get some work out of you, and they teach you as well. So that's how you start learning and you gain experience. So I've been, during my master study, I've led it lot of volunteering experiences. So that even I even worked in sort of like I even did campus tours. You don't like where I learned a lot of people from different places. We even have opportunities to do campus tour, like 12th standard students coming to university, we take them in and around the campus and show. That's a volunteering opportunity that my university offered. I did a volunteer in a not-for-profitable organization where I worked 3 months as a business analyst. I learned a lot of things when working there, how to analyze the requirements, how to plan, how to understand the effort. They taught me, and I also worked and I learned. So I most of my experiences before getting a professional job was my volunteer experience, where I was paid nothing, but I learned a lot of things. So in Australia, that's a very much big point. And as I mentioned already, internships. So most of the people here, they used to work in their summer break, but I would prefer to do this as a professional work instead of working either in a cafe or in a restaurant. Yes, we should do that because we earn part time. Most of us would have done overseas would do a part time, but I would also like what we learned was like this summer break really helped us do a work integrated learning experience. Thereby, we got an internship, we worked there, we gained an experience, and we took that for a credit transfer. And professional part-time. So as a student, you get 40 hours per fortnight, which is 20 hours per week where you can work. So I have seen, actually, I didn't do a professional part-time for the first year, but for the second year only started doing a professional part-time. But that really helped me in because it was a star in my resume, which helped me get the job that I'm doing now. Because I was also paid money, I also got professional experience, I got called professional references, where again everything that I needed. So most people here are really interested in hiring international students in their part-time job because basically we Indians are trained to work a lot and put a lot of hard work when compared to the people over here. So there are a lot of opportunities for the professional part-time, but the thing is like we have to go and find it out. A lot are listed over the things like mentioned in LinkedIn or by word of mouth through our professional network. And other thing that people usually used to do here and participate in university events, like we used to have STEM week events, career events, and all those events. So where we know what is the jobs that target this area, like if I study IT, what would be the job, what would be the requirements. So people come there and do career hub, like a fair, like what happens in India, similar sort of thing. We also have here where we can build a lot of professional network. So that's one of the thing that helped during my master's study. And talking about the Australian market, to be frank, what do people look at master graduates is they see what is the skill that you have different from others. So everybody here who apply for the job, most people they would have a master degree. So they see what you have different from that. And do you have a work experience? So being a master graduate, sure you wouldn't have any work experience. But as I mentioned, your volunteering experience and your internship counts as your work experience. And your network, so your professional network. So whom do you have here as a reference? Whom do you know? Where have you been? All your events you have participated. They may ask in the interview. So that's one of the skills that people are looking for, and all the transferable skills, like for example, as I mentioned, I did masters in IT maybe, and I did my bachelor's in computer science, but there is a job where I can go as a teacher where I teach IT. So is I'm possible to transfer this skill to that skill? So do I have that capability? So people look for that in the person who is applying for the job. And now there are like hundreds of certification which are requirements for job, like Google certificate, Amazon certificate, and the practitioner certificate, and SharePoint, everything. So there are like, but most entry jobs don't have those things, but few have this certification requirement. But apart from that, did you anywhere see what was your mark? They never see that in when you apply for a job. They just ask whether you have completed a degree. And even though if you are still doing a degree, if they see these qualities in you, they are happy to accept you on part-time, where they accept your flexibility. So sometimes even we work from 6 to 9 in the evening, where we were supposed to do the task in the morning, but they are flexible if we are having these qualities. And here, even if we have a driving license, that's the most important thing. Are you able to drive a car? People really don't have a driving license here, and I've been even rejected for many jobs since I didn't have my driving license when I applied. So people just see the flexibility in you when they hire you, and what makes you different from others. Just they may receive 3,000 to 5,000 applications for just 5 to 6 jobs, but they just find out like how you are different from the other people. So that's the thing they look for in that. And again, so there are two top type of people when they're choosing their master graduate abroad: either to go study and come back to the home country and work in the home country, or second sort is like go there, study, take some experience and come back when your visa is done. Or the third category is this one, like permanent resident, settling back in Australia as a permanent resident. So in such a case, what would you do? What should you do when you start as a student itself? Find a course that is in the skilled occupation list. If your course is in your skilled occupation list, then there is a high chance for you getting a permanent resident. Similarly, as I told, if you study in a regional place, like regional state, so your state is divided into metropolitan regional. So if you study and live in a regional place, you get extra points for your PR, and you get an extra year in your temporary visa. And again, living in regional area, because living in the regional area is very different, because if you go in metropolitan area like Melbourne, the streets are always busy. But if you go in a regional area, it's sort of like where you travel in between your village. So it's similarly exact the similar. The network doesn't be proper there. You can't find a restaurant nearby. You can't have a lot of access to public transport. So there are sort of pros and cons between living in Melbourne, so living in metropolitan area and regional area. But if you live in a regional area and if you contribute to the development of regional area, you get a extra points for your PR. Similarly, finding a job in the skilled occupation list. So doing a course and working in the same field in the skilled occupation list is gives you a higher chance when you apply for your permanent residency. So this is applies only to the people who want to settle in Australia. But if you're looking forward to move and settle in Australia, then make sure you start it right from the first point where you do it itself. And yes, now study during pandemic. So coming back to this, this is the most important thing that I want to address. And as I mentioned, I'm working as a casual industry fellow at an university like an RMIT university. So I have in my classes, I have people studying from India also, and studying from Chennai. And this study is really different studying from being in Australia and studying online, but you have all the features that you get as you study in Australia as well. Also, like to mention another student from Panimala IT. So I think so her name is Ratna. She did her bachelor's in Panimala, and she worked in an IT company, and now she's doing a master's in the same university that I am studying. So she has chose to study during pandemic, and she believes that once this pandemic may and in 1 year or two, hoping so, Australia must start accepting the international students so she can come back. So there are many people who are doing that. So in that case, if you are going to apply for doing your masters in Australia and you're going to study from overseas, because currently Australia is not accepting any people coming inside. So people who are living inside Australia only, we can live here. So current border rules are like nobody can come from anywhere. So but we hope everything changes very soon. So the only option now is, if you want to study master in very soon, this next year or this next semester, you have to do an online study where everything is hybrid. So like you have to study from the place where you are. So once the borders are open, you can come here to the campus and study. So we have like most universities here now, they are doing a online study. Like they use many tools like Collaborate, Ultra, Teams, where they can meet their staffs and students, meet the staff and mentors then and there. And even the exams and assignments, everything are online. Before, when we are here, we used to go and write exams in paper, but now everything is online. Your student visa is still the same, so you get a 2 years visa. So once your student visa is over, your temporary visa starts only when you're back to Australia. That's the one of the border rules. But I would encourage you to check the Australian immigration rules if you want for a better clarity, because I'm not sure of it, changes every now and then. And similarly, professional network, the meetup still is online, like even we can meet people online, and online events are happening, and work from home internship and jobs are still available. So if you still choose to study in pandemic, there is a contingency for that as well. But I want to say, kindly do a research before getting into that. And I just want to finish with this. So every expert was once a beginner. Even Steve Jobs was once a beginner, and even everybody who we know, everybody, they were once a beginner. I was a beginner, you are a beginner, and everybody here are a beginner. So the only thing that we need to do is put your effort, do your research, and then get into whatever you do. So that gets you to the place where you want it to be. Let it be a baby step, let it be a small step, but just pat your shoulders whenever you do something better. Because in this pandemic, and being abroad, missing the family, everything, the only thing that you can give it to yourself is giving a pat and saying that you're doing good. So it can be even applying to people who are there. So just be proud of whatever you're doing today, and put your effort for the better tomorrow. And yes, I'm just open for questions. Just going back to Teams. So yes, I'm open for question. I have another 7 minutes before giving it to the next person. So if you have got any questions, please feel free to ask me.
Ma'am, what about work-life balance in Australia?
Okay, yeah, here to be frank, like what I didn't work in India, so I did my bachelor's. I just finished in May, and I came here in July. Just I had my 1 month break, so I didn't work there. But hearing from my friends, here work life balance is very much nice, because here people, they don't give you a lot of deadlines. If you do your job here, they are so much happy to enjoy your lunch break, sort of break. Anytime you feel like going out, having your coffee, and whatever you like to go for a walk, and you can, the best thing here is you can turn off your laptop whenever you want, you feel like. But the only thing is, like, if you are doing our work properly, and if you are meeting our KPIs, I mean the performance, if the performance is good, then your job is for you only. So if you can't be replaced by another person, then you are absolutely happy to have your freedom. And in IT, basically, as I'm working in IT, they take a lot of effort so that we don't feel stress and pressure. So to be frank, what I hear from my friends back in India, and I have a better work-life balance here. Yeah,
Thank you, ma'am.
thank you. And any other questions, please? Any questions? Like, any areas did I miss out? If you have any questions or doubts. Okay, so if you feel like if you can't ask the question right, and now in this big meeting, this is my LinkedIn. So you can find myself as Annapurni Subramani. So I've just put the QR code for, if you would like to take a screenshot, you can connect me there and you can message me. I'm happy to help you out with whatever knowledge I have. I also have a bunch of friends here. So they are from different departments, like almost I have friends in all departments, and they are from same university as well. Like, we all started from Panimala. So one of my friends, Sanchana, she did E&I, and a couple of friends like Vaishnavi and Aishwarya, they did their ECE, and other friend, she did Subhatra, she did Triply. She did it from PIT. So almost I have friends back from Panimalar, again the same university, working in different places like Sydney, Adelaide, and Melbourne, and I'm living in regional Victoria. So if you are looking forward to move to any places, if you need any help, kindly reach out anytime, because we had people who helped us before we came here. So we have that responsibility to do the same. So if you like to get any information anytime, you can reach out through my professional network. And as I mentioned, if you are from different field or going for a different place, I can give leads there, like if you need any time. So yes, I take this big opportunity to thank Jivshila ma'am because she asked me to do this. Yes, and thanks Colin for organizing, and thanks Anu ma'am. It's my pleasure being back here, but I'm really sad that I couldn't be there on site. I still miss Panivala sometimes. Yes, there would be like, as I mentioned, tolerance and getting. We still realize like, okay, it would be much better. Life was very easy when we woke up at 6 o'clock and took the bus and went to Panimala. We had meals, everything. But now life is very different. I have the responsibility to thank everybody because those days were still in my memory. So thanks Colin, thanks Anu ma'am, and thanks Jabashila ma'am. And I also like to thank Murugavali ma'am and all the principal and HOD and all staffs, and thanks everybody for taking 1 hour of your time and listening my big stories. I think I didn't bore you or I didn't give you a big lecture. So I just shared my experience. So if you have any doubts, you can reach me there.
Thank you so much, Annapurni. It was really wonderful. And as you would have known, today is the last day of this first of its kind seminar exclusively for further after bachelor's, because I'm sure when you were pursuing your studies or when we were pursuing, we didn't have much of these kind of sessions.
Exactly.
It was only for the placements and the day one interviews and, you know, something of that sort. So we thought this would be really beneficial, and thank you for your support. And I'm sure you would also be there, you know, as a part, as alumni mentor for all the students of our college. Thanks.
Yes, sure, always.
That. Yes, dear. Thank you so much. So, yeah, thank you so much. And students, I think you can all just wait. We are having one more other speaker from New York joining us very soon.
Hello. Thank you very much. Here, yeah. Colin, already Srinidhi joined.
Okay, 1 second, ma'am. I'm just checking her name so that I can make her the speaker.
Yes, she is in the name of Srinidhi only. Hi, Srinidhi.
Okay.
Hello, ma'am. How are you?
Fine. How are you?
Thank you for inviting me, and Annapurni, great presentation. You guys covered like the stuff that I wanted to cover, so thank you. I think I'll try to not make it repetitive because it's kind of similar, Australia and US, just that the process and, you know, a couple of things different. So thank you for that amazing presentation, and thanks everyone for the organizers to have this amazing session here and everybody here. Good evening. It's good morning to me. It's like 7:30 here. So if I'm sleepy or yawning, pardon me. I would try not to do that. So I'm Srinidhi. It's a pleasure to be here with you all today. And let's dive into this presentation that I have ready in a couple of minutes. Okay.
So sorry, Srinidhi, sorry to interrupt. Thanks, I'm just taking my leave. So I will just see your recording in YouTube. So it's here it's around 9:30 here. So it's my work day. So thanks for that. Thanks for the big opportunity. I'll see your video. Okay. Thanks everyone. Bye-bye. Thanks, Anu ma'am. Thanks, Colin.
Thank you, Annapurni. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Okay. Let me just quickly share my screen here and then we can get started. That's fine, right, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you go ahead.
Okay. Screen, right? So let's be interactive. Just say yes or no. You can stop me at any time and ask me questions. I would like it to be interactive, not to, because it's a lot of information. It's just like a lot of information. It's gonna be overwhelming. So stop me at any time you want to, and I will answer your questions. So the more interactive it is, the better, so you don't zone out. Because I know it's like 5:30 there. Maybe it's like 5, so it's maybe like a long day. Okay, so I'm Srinidhi. So this session is gonna be about your master's degree in the USA. So my goal is to give you an overview of how the process looks, because it's a lot of things. It's a lot of intricate details, that is not gonna be covered in an hour. So I'm just gonna give you an overview of how the process looks like, how you can prep yourself, and how you can like do your best in order to pursue a master's in the US. My other goal is to give you a list of things that you can Google in case you are interested to learn further. So it's going to be buzzwords, it's going to be like jargons that you can Google and get results in case you want to pursue a master's here. So that's me. Yes, hi, hello. I'm Srinidhi, and I graduated from Panimalan Engineering College in 2017. I did my bachelor's in computer science and engineering, and I then decided to do my master's right away after I graduated. So I graduated in 2017. I came to the US, to New York in 2017 as well, in December. So I did my master's in management of technology. And you can choose concentrations when you do your master's. So I did my concentrations in business analytics and human capital analytics. So currently I live in New York. I work in New York, and I'm a human capital data analyst at Sumitomo Mitsui Banking Corporation. அது என்ன human capital data analystனு கேட்டிங்கன்னா அது எனக்கே 2 வருஷம் முன்னாடி தான் தெரியும். It's a combination of analytics and HR. So it's like human resources, but it's not human resources. So you use data to make business decisions. For example, in the pandemic, எல்லாரும் வீட்ல இருந்து work பண்றாங்க. எங்களுக்கு வந்து எத்தனை பேர் வீட்ல இருந்து work பண்றாங்க, are they productive, are they happy, are the employees happy அப்படின்னு கேட்பாங்க. So we send out surveys, we analyze the data, we give the business the results so they can make a business decision. That's just like one part of what I do, which is also something I need to cover because there's no specific coursework or programs that you can choose here in the US. It's just endless. You can customize your own program. Your passion is what matters. So let's just dive deep into the session without much further ado, because we do have like a time crunch here. All right. What are we going to look at today? So we're going to look at the grad school admission. So schoolna சொல்றேன் அப்படினு வந்து சிரிக்காதீங்க. So இங்க வந்து university, when you do your master's degree, it's called grad school. So we call it grad school here, graduate school. அதனால வந்து it's called a school. Graduate school admissions வந்து we're going to look at the process, how the process looks like. What are the things that you need to get ready? How can you prep yourself? And then we have the grad school, the experience. What can you expect to experience here? How is it going to be different from what you study in India? How can you prep yourself better to like excel in whatever you do? And then we're going to look at the internships and full-time opportunities. How can you like bag an internship? How can you like make sure you work here and have a full-time job offer? We're going to look at that too. And then, like I said, it's a lot of information, a lot of buzzwords. So we're going to have a recap in the end as to what your next steps are. So I'm not sure what year you are in right now. Some of you might be in your first year, second year, final year. So the next few months or years is going to be crucial for you. So because the sooner you start your prep, the better. So we're going to look at a recap as to what can be done as soon as we like log off today. I'm kidding. It's probably the next month or so. Okay, so what does the process look like? You can see like a list of things here, right? So you have the qualifying examinations, you have like a bunch of documents, universities, visa, and then the graduate school experience and beyond is something that we can look at the next slide. So I do gather that you've been having sessions previously that covered a bit of these things like GRE and SOPs and LORs. These are some of the things that Annapurni covered in her session as well. So I'm not going to try to be repetitive. I'm just going to give you the pro tips that I felt was useful when I applied for my master's, because I'm pretty sure you would know a lot of things in this, previously from your previous sessions. So the qualifying examinations. So there are tests that you need to give in order to secure an admit here in the US. So you have the GRE, the GMAT, the TOEFL, and IELTS. So GRE and GMAT are your subject tests, meaning they test your knowledge, your aptitude. So very similar to what we do, like when we give our aptitude test for our placements. The GRE is the graduate record examination. So when you want to do your master's, like that is your master in science degree, you'd give your GRE. The GMAT is for you when you want to pursue your MBA. So it's for your management admissions, MBA. The TOEFL and IELTS or language proficiency tests. For most of us that are not native speakers of English, நம்ம தமிழ் பேசுவோம் இல்ல வேற language பேசலாம். So we are not native English speakers. So we are required to prove our language proficiency by giving the TOEFL or IELTS. So you would have a question as to what is the better choice? What is easier, TOEFL or IELTS? They're kind of like very similar. I have a blog on my LinkedIn if you want to check out between the difference between TOEFL and IELTS as to which is better. My suggestion would be to go for the TOEFL examination just because it's more recognized in the US than the IELTS, which is more recognized in Canada and the UK. So the TOEFL is more recognized. It's widely recognized in the US. And that's going to help you when you want to secure an assistantship. What is an assistantship? We'll be looking at in the next few slides, but basically it's like a job that you can do in the university here. It can be a teaching assistantship, like you're the assistant to the teacher. You have to teach students. A research assistantship or a graduate assistantship. So these assistantships are competitive. And if you have a TOEFL score, the professor is going to recognize you, whoever is there is going to recognize the score, and it gives you an edge over your other teammates that do not have a TOEFL score. So another thing that I do want to mention that is that due to COVID-19, for the past 2 years, the GRE is waived for a lot of universities. So they don't require a GRE score anymore. A lot of universities, most universities, some of them do. So you don't need a GRE score to apply. And but I would recommend that you do have a GRE score just because it couldn't hurt, right? It gives you an additional edge. The second thing, your application packet, like a list of documents that you need in order to apply. I put it at first and then the shortlisting universities because I want to give you an idea of what you need to have in your hand and then customize it according to the universities that you want to go to. There's no one list of documents that you need for a university. It differs, it varies because every university has a different approach to admission. So where can you find a list of documents that, just to make sure you have everything? The university website. Every university has a dedicated website and a dedicated page for international admissions where they have like a list of documents that you can find that you need to have and send to the university in order to secure an admit. Some of the things that are like standard or your SOPs, your LORs, your resume, and other miscellaneous things like your transcripts, your mark sheets, and other things. So the SOP, I'm pretty sure you've heard, is the statement of purpose. So and the LOR is the letter of recommendation. So pro tip, again, something that I would suggest you do is to have your SOP like a story. Kadakadiya எழுதக்கூடாது, ஆனா கதையா எழுதணும். The SOP needs to be creative. It needs to have a flow. So the SOP can also have things that you don't really mention anywhere else, but you still want the admission committee to know. For example, you would have been the class monitor, class leader இருந்திருப்பீங்க, volleyball team leader, basketball team leader, whatever it is. So you can mention that in your resume, right? It's not pretty relevant. But let's say you want to do an MBA degree and you already have a leadership skill through this. You can mention that on your SOP. You can say, so I was like a leader when I was in school, and then we won so many tournaments. I led my team, I led the efforts, and then that kind of translated to the passion that I have for now, have for MBA now. That's going to reflect on a very positive note to the admissions committee. When you have a story flowing about your past accomplishments, your present stance, and then your future intent, that is going to help a lot to have a flow in your story. And it's going to be interesting and creative, and that's going to give you an edge. Be as creative and interesting as possible on your SOP because that's the only document that you can write for yourself and, with the admissions committee. Before that, I just want you to sit back and ask yourself this question. Why do I want to pursue a master's in the US or anywhere for that matter? That answer is going to help you a lot throughout the process, till the end, until you get a job and even after you get a job. Okay, so coming back to this thing here, the LOR, letter of recommendation. So it's a letter that outlines your achievements when you were in school, in college, or when you were working. So some of you would want to pursue a master's right after your college, like, without work experience, which is what I did. That's fine. Some of you would want to work for a year or two and then pursue a master's. It doesn't matter what stage you are at, but usually the universities, like, they require 3 letters of recommendation. Some of them require 4. So the standard is 3. I would recommend you have 2 LORs from your professors, and then 1 from your manager. If you did not work before coming here, I'm pretty sure you've done internships, so any supervisor that supervised you would be great. Friends கிட்டலாம் வாங்க முடியாது. It should be a supervisor or a professor. So 2 academic LORs from your professors and 1 workplace LOR from your manager or supervisor is the way to go, and it's gonna stand out in every possible way if you do this. And your resume. I'm pretty sure you would be like well versed than me in, like, outlining a resume. You would have multiple sessions. You would have like pros and cons, suggestions, and everything. I stick to a very simple rule. Your resume must be clean and crisp. You should not clutter it. You should just point out the relevant experience that you have had, your past accomplishments, your present projects, and are the ones that need to go onto the resume. So that is why you need to start now. It's like a great time for you to like go do those projects online because you're home. Like if you wanted to take a project from blogs, if you want to do like extracurricular things, it's a great way to start and fill your resume. Anything, even the remote, like little thing that you can do will help you get a job. For example, I did this 1-month internship online as a marketing ambassador for some magazine. I just did it because I was bored at home. I never thought it's gonna help me in any way. It did in a way that I can't imagine. So when I was looking for a graduate admission, like assistantship at NYU, New York University, I had a word on my resume saying I recruited ambassadors, which is what I did when I was doing this 1-month online internship. That word is what got me the job. I never thought that it's gonna happen, but it did. So anything that you're gonna do is gonna help you in the long run. Trust me, trust the process. So the next thing is shortlisting universities. So these 2 things are interchangeable. You can either shortlist the universities and then do your packet, or you can do the packet first, have like a basic template, and then shortlist the universities and customize it according to that. So the shortlisting universities is based on your interest. Again, sit back and ask yourself what your intent is. That's gonna help you, right? So what do you want to do? Do you want to pursue a master's in computer science because you're in the computer science department? Or you are worried that you did your electronics and communication engineering degree and then you're like, can I do computer science? Absolutely, it doesn't matter. You can still do your master's in any course that you want as long as you have like a stellar SOP and convince the committee that you are an ideal candidate for an admit. It doesn't hurt to have relevant experience. For example, let's say you're from AC, but you want to do a computer science degree. I would suggest you do one project, at least one internship for a month or 2, so you can have that on your resume, just so you can tell the committee that I did this internship, I did this project, so I am interested to do this. Make it convincing. So, but that's not a problem at all. You can still like switch your majors. It doesn't matter. And then the financial perspective. That is very important. The US is not an inexpensive country to be. It is expensive compared to what we spend in India for education. So there's no one answer as to how much is it gonna cost here in the US. It depends on a variety of factors: where you live, where your university is situated, and then like what kind of universities. Is it a top tier university, or is it okay? I mean, the top 200 or 300 universities. And then if it is a metropolitan city, it's definitely going to be expensive. The range that you're looking at here is somewhere from like 20 lakhs to 90 lakhs. So I know it's skewed, but there are universities that can only, you can complete in 20 lakhs, and then you can there are universities that's going to cost you 90 lakhs. So the financial perspective is absolutely important for you to consider when shortlisting universities. And then future goals. I say this because what you want to do plays a huge role in you choosing a university. Like I wanted to do something in like business analytics. That's why I chose New York, because this is a financial hub and the center of like, business, usually perceived so. So I know that when I graduate from a university in New York, I would have high chances of getting a job here in New York because this is where my area of interest lies, and I got this in the financial sector. So if you want to, if you are, let's say you're a mechanical engineer and you want to do like a construction, no, not construction management, you want to do something related to your mechanical engineering degree, you might want to consider Texas or Michigan where you have all those, mechanical stuff going on. So your intent, your future goal, your passion translates directly to what you want to do and where you want to do it. The state, the place that you live, the place you graduate from, like in terms of university, matters a lot for you to get a job. It doesn't mean if I graduate from New York, can I get a job in California? Yes, you can, but you always have an advantage of graduating from the place that you want to work at because that's going to give you an edge. The next step is visa. So we're going to look at that a little bit in like detail. So I'm just going to give you an overview right now. So there's an application and then you have to prep for the visa, and then there's an interview. The long line நிப்பாங்க இல்லையா எம்பசி முன்னாடி அங்கதான் நிக்கணும் visa வாங்குறதுக்கு. We'll be on a student visa. And then the grad school experience and beyond, we'll be seeing in the next slides. Cool. Okay. பெரிய மூச்சா இழுத்து விட்டுக்கோங்க ஏன்னா பாதி கிணறு தான் தாண்டி இருக்கோம் halfway through. So like I said, universities, I think we already covered this. The program of interest, any program that you need, you can always like Google things. Google is your best friend when you're applying for universities. You can Google the top courses, you can Google the university, and then you can go into the website to see what courses they offer. The good thing about US is that there's no one single course that you can take which I can deem as popular. You can take any course that you want and you customize it to your way, like what you like doing and what you want to do, which is a great thing. So that's what I would recommend you do as well. Just like Google things, just understand what where your interest lies at, and then go from there. Follow your heart. And then the STEM program. I think this is something that Annapurni covered as well. STEM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. Please make sure that your program is a STEM degree. This is not mandatory, but I would recommend that you make sure it's a STEM program. It falls under the Science, Tech, Engineering, and Math domain. Why do I say this? That's because if your program is a STEM program and you graduate, after you graduate, you can work for 2 more years as opposed to somebody that doesn't graduate from a STEM program that can only work for 1 year. So it's essential that if you want to work here in the US, if you want to settle down here in the US, you choose a STEM program. That's going to give you an edge all through, like throughout the process of you coming to the US and settling here. Number 3 is your financial stance. I guess we covered that already. So there's tuition fee, which covers your courses, other things, miscellaneous things, and then you have scholarships. There are not a lot of like federal international scholarships here. Federal meaning the government. So we don't have the government like spending on us international students in terms of scholarships. But universities do offer scholarships. Every university does. The criteria differs. For NYU, I think it's pretty much like balanced. They look at everything: your GPA, your extracurricular, your SOP. So it's based on that. And then the cost of living. Like I said, where you live is definitely is a very, very important thing. You don't want to like shell out a lot. You need to consider that fact and choose a state or university that doesn't cost a lot. The metropolitan cities like New York, Seattle, Los Angeles cost a lot. So the other cities are like kind of average, manageable. So you need to like consider that and choose a university. Alumni. It doesn't hurt for you to like, once you choose a university, the next thing that I would recommend you do is go on LinkedIn, find a bunch of like people that have graduated from the university. You can actually even find like an alumni of Funimala Engineering College from the same university that's gonna help you. Knowing the alumni, where they're working, where they're placed, what they do is gonna be really helpful for you to like picture as to what you're gonna be like and what is possible as well. The other things that you can use to shortlist a university is like the ranking, the brand. It's not important. That's why I put it in the last. Ranking matters to like ranking differs. You know, you have different ranks here. You have like global rank. You have like a state rank. You have a national rank. These are done by like private things. So the ranking doesn't matter a lot. It's just like a good thing to like know. And the brand, like if it's like a widely known university, it helps a little bit when you go talk to people. When somebody asks you where you're from, you say NYU, oh NYU, so they recognize the university. That's pretty much it. Is it gonna help you get a job? Not really. So the ranking and brand don't really matter. It depends. So I would just say choose your program of interest and consider the other factors when you are shortlisting universities. This is an extremely important step. So please make sure you spend enough time doing this. All right, so, and then we have the visa. இதெல்லாம் முடிச்சிட்டு admit வரும். They'll send you an email saying congratulations, you have gotten admit. So அதுக்கப்புறம் என்ன பண்ணணும் அப்படின்னா வந்து விசாக்கு அப்ளை பண்ணணும். விசா இல்லாம இங்க வர முடியாது. என்ன visa? You are on a student visa because you're a student. So student visa வந்து you have these 4 process, like 4 steps actually. So the first is an application, simple online application. You just fill it, you submit it, and you schedule an appointment with the Indian embassy. I'm sorry, what am I saying? The US embassy in Chennai or anywhere. I think there are like 4, if I'm not wrong. So there's one in Chennai, and you can just choose the embassy that's more convenient to you, most convenient to you. And then the documents. So like again, this thing is like, it's not like a single answer thing. You have like a list of documents that are recommended that you have when you go to the embassy. So like your financial statements, your bank statements, your loan if you have one, and then your resume, your mark sheets, transcripts. It just goes on endlessly. But if you Google it, you'll come up with a bunch of things, and make sure you have everything, every possible document that you will be asked. Even if they're not going to ask anything, it just probably end in one question. But it's good to be prepared and have everything with you, so you will feel confident, because you're gonna feel anxious and jittery when you go inside looking at everyone and interviews and stuff. So having everything, being calm and fully prepared doesn't hurt. So have every single document that's possible. And then the prep. You don't need a lot of prep, but it's always good to have this friend with you and like just have them ask questions and you answering them. The usual questions are like, what's your name? What university are you going? Why do you want to do this degree? What are you going to do after you graduate? These are the standard questions that they ask. They might ask for your financial statements. So just, going through that prep, practicing is going to help you a lot. Just be confident and nail that interview. Okay, and then the final process is the interview. So you go, so there are like 2 appointments. One is the biometrics, where you just like give your thumbprint, you take a picture. And the second appointment is for your interview. You go to the embassy, there's a visa officer there, they're gonna ask you questions, and then you're gonna like answer the questions, and they're gonna say, great, your visa is approved, you can collect your passport, which is what you wanna hear, the golden words. So once that's done, everything is set and you're all set to fly to the US. Great, so we have covered the application process as to what it looks like. Like I said, this is just an overview. I've given you like things like STEM and visa and stuff. So Google everything, get the results that you want, and please do your research. It's just a lot to know, but once you know, it's gonna be on your fingertips and you can like sail through the process like a breeze. Okay, so okay, US வந்து கிளம்பி வந்தாச்சுங்க. ஏன்னா USல படிக்கணும், இங்க எப்படி இருக்க போகுது, how's it gonna be different அப்படின்னு வந்து கேட்பீங்க. So it's pretty different from what we have in India. So it is extremely interactive and practical, meaning your grading starts from day 1. The professors are going to observe you, they're going to know your name, so you should participate. It's going to be interactive. Anything that's taught to you is expected to be productive, and they're expected you to apply it to the things that you would essentially do, like projects or whatever. So it's going to be very interactive. So எவ்வளோ வருஷம் ஆகும்னு கேட்பீங்க. Typically 2 years. Every program is for 2 years. You can also graduate in 1.5 years, but that just means that you're taking more courses in a term, which is gonna make you like super busy, super tired. I would recommend doing that, but if you do want to finish in 1.5 years for some reason, you can. So 3 course எடுக்கிற இடத்துல வந்து 4 course எடுக்கும் அப்படி எடுத்தோம் அப்படின்னா வந்து. And then how are you graded? Is there like a single thing that you're graded on? Just exams? No. What if you fail an exam or you are going to fail graduate school? No. That is like the best thing about studying in the US. You're graded through a variety of things. Class participation, like I said, starts from day one. You need to be interactive. You need to ask questions. You need to answer questions. You need to meet the professor. And then you do have exams. There are courses that I've had that did not even have an exam. There were no exams. So yes, exams are like not mandatory. It depends on the professor. Assignments are pretty much like in all the courses. You will be given a weekly or a monthly or a bi-weekly assignment depending on the professor, or a one-time assignment that you need to complete. It's practically like homework, so you just do that and then submit it and then they grade it. And then group or individual projects. This is mandatory. Like literally every single course that I've taken has a project. You need to do a project. You need to present it to the professor and your peers and get reviews and get graded. So this is like a balance thing, right? So even if you like screw up in like one thing, let's say you didn't do an exam well, you're kind of worried, you can still get credits from the other things. And another tip is to, let's say you kind of like did not do your exam well, you can go to your professor and ask them for extra credits, and they usually give you an assignment. And if you do that well, you get extra credits to balance your exam scores. So it's pretty student friendly. They are very flexible. So that is a great thing that we have here in the US. The next thing is extracurricular activities. Like I said, you have to start building your extracurricular activities right from college. So you're in undergrad now, you do that there. And then you are in grad school and you do that there as well. So you have clubs, you have different student clubs. You can be a part of anything. You can have either technical clubs, there are non-technical leisurely clubs. You can pretty much be part of anything. So we had like a club for human capital analytics. I was part of it. And then we had a GISA club for Indian Students Association where we celebrated Diwali and everything. So we had that too. So you can be a part of any club. It's better to hold leadership positions so that you can just point out on your resume saying you've had leadership positions. And then there are sororities, like there are other student club as well. And then it's good to like participate in hackathons. If you're interested in coding, it's a great way to express your, exhibit your abilities. And then you can write blogs. Like you can just like go on LinkedIn or any blog or even Facebook, just like write technical stuff or non-technical stuff you know about, just to show others that you know what you're saying. So these are like things that's gonna keep you going and it's gonna make your school life interesting. This thing is very important. The next thing, part-time jobs. Can you work here in the US on a student visa? Yes, you can. You can work for 20 hours a week. So that's why it's called part-time. The rest 20 hours is for you to study. Usually grad school is in the evening. ராத்திரியில தான் கிளாஸ் வைப்பாங்க. எனக்கு 11 மணிக்கெல்லாம் கிளாஸ் இருந்திருக்கு. ஸோ வந்து அப்படிதான் இருக்கும் grad school. So morning work பண்ணிட்டு evening வந்து you can go to class. It's gonna be different, yes. So usually part-time jobs are like GAs, TAs, and RAs. Graduate assistantships, research assistantships, teaching assistantships. So முன்னாடி சொன்ன மாதிரி graduate assistantships is when you work in the office, like ஒரு admissions officer இருக்கும் or HR officer இருக்கும், you'll be a GA. And then we have research assistants. You work with professors who do research. If there's something that's of interest to you, you give them your resume, they consider you, and then you help them with research. TA is you teaching the students, so there'll be professors. They want you to like cover for them when they are absent or when they're away or something because they travel a lot. So you'll be the one grading the students' assignments and projects, and you will also teach when required. So this is where your TOEFL, your resume, any remote thing that you do, and your SOPs come into play, and they're very helpful. Networking. So I know this is a broad topic again. So the more you know people in grad school, the better. So use LinkedIn, use your resources, you go to meetup clubs, whatever you do. Networking is very important when it comes to job search. So you just get to know people, just hold a conversation, understand where they're coming from, what they do, so you will know what to do when you come to that stage. All right, let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so grad school, when should you apply? How does it look like? What is the process? So we have two terms, the spring term and the fall term. Spring term is usually in January. Summa kulura irukum if you're coming to like states like the east side states vandinga, it's like extremely cold. So if you like the cold, if you like the snow, choose the spring term. Fall vande is more like or normal temperature. Not very hot, not very cold. It's very pleasant. So that's in August. I came in the spring term. If you ask me what the difference is, honestly, there's no difference at all. It's just going to be the same. So choose according to your flexibility. When you want to come here, if you're working, when you can take a break or whatever it is, just choose depending on your comfort. So the program is like any master's program, any course is a 30 to 36 credit program. So ஒரு கோர்ஸ்க்கு 3 credit இருக்கும். Usually there are 3 credits for a course. So if it's a 36 credit course, you have to take at least 3 courses because as international students, we need to maintain 9 credits per semester. So 3 course கண்டிப்பா எடுக்கணும். அப்படி அந்த 3 course ஒரு semester எடுத்தீங்கன்னா நீங்க வந்து 4 semesterல முடிப்பீங்க, which spans on like a 2-year timeline. So 30 credit தான் அப்படினா வந்து அதுக்கு ஏத்த மாதிரி நீங்க பிளான் பண்ணிக்கலாம். இதுல வந்து internships வரும். Internships offer 3 credits. So if you get an internship that's relevant to your study, you can do the internship and like just, you know, pass on a course and just include an internship for 3 credits. You can do that. Actually, it's 1 point for credits. I'm sorry. It's 1 point for credits for me. I think it depends on the university, but yes, internships are considered a curricular thing. Prerequisite courses. அப்படின்னா என்னன்னா, ஸோ நீங்கள் கேட்பீங்க இல்லையா, இசி படிச்சுட்டு நான் சிஎஸ்சி படிக்கலாமா, சிவில் படிச்சுட்டு சிஎஸ்சி படிக்கலாமா, ரெலவென்ஸ் இல்லையே அப்படின்னு கேட்பீங்க. உங்களுக்கு வந்து எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் இல்லைன்னு வச்சுக்கோங்க, இன்டர்ன்ஷிப் நீங்கள் பண்ணலை, ப்ராஜெக்ட் நீங்கள் பண்ணலை. Can you still do that? Yes, that's when prerequisite courses come into play. The university is going to give you a conditional admit. So it's going to say, yes, you can come and study with us, but you need to complete these courses because you don't have a computer science background. Probably 1 or 2 courses இருக்கும். Once you complete that, you can start with your regular courses. அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாங்க, which is going to mean that 2 yearsல முடிக்க வேண்டிய degree might get extended to 2.5 years. Or if you can take 4 or 5 courses in a semester, you still can. So it just depends on what you want to do. So yes, you can still do that. This is not like a regular thing that happens. This is what usually happens if your background is like completely different from your master's degree, and then you don't even have relevant experience or internship. This is why I want you to do a project or an internship, like even a 2 or 3 month internship, if you want to switch your majors from your bachelor's to master's. And then customizable. நான் சொன்ன மாதிரி நீங்க என்ன கோர்ஸ் வேணா எடுத்துக்கிட்டு you can customize it to your liking. So I pursued management of technology. Initially, I had no idea as to what I'm gonna do. So எனக்கு தெரியாது நான் வந்து data analytics எடுக்கிறேனா, data science எடுக்கிறேனா, I had no idea. So I just wanted to like take the core courses, just get the feel of it and then decide. Once in my second semester, I chose to do business analytics because I liked it a lot. So, and then third semester I kind of got exposed to human capital analytics. I had an HR job. So I just wanted to tie them both. So analytics வந்துருச்சு, technical வந்துருச்சு, என்னோட background வந்துருச்சு. So human capital analytics ஒரு track இருந்தது. I chose that. I changed my majors, my concentration. So you can do that. You can customize your electives to suit your needs and your interests, which is what it's going to help you because your skill set translates your passion, and that is absolutely great. And also a great thing about studying in the US because you can study what you want instead of them dumping things on you. And then the pandemic. So இப்போ எப்படி இருக்கு, pandemicல படிக்கலாமா அப்படின்லாம் வந்து questions வரும். Yes, like I said, the GRE is waived. F1 visa is still being issued. There's a special thing for students to come here to the US. The embassy is open just for F1 visas. அப்படி கூட இருக்கு. So yes, they're being very flexible and helpful in terms of bringing students here. And it's hybrid learning because some of the schools are open, some of them are not. So you can choose to have online classes or go into school. People are going to school, like, students are still learning in classrooms. So there's a hybrid learning in place right now. Okay, so this is a little bit like overwhelming and a lot of buzzwords, like I said, visa process. So I'm just gonna keep it very simple. Like I said, Google CPT and OPT if you want to know more. So as international students, we have two things to bag: internships and full-time offers. So internships fall under CPT, curricular practical training, and volunteer jobs. So you can either do a CPT, meaning you have to have an internship that's relevant to what you're studying, and then a volunteer job. The CPT is eligible after 2 semesters. You finish here in the US. The volunteer thing, you can start anytime. You can start on the day you land in the US. So that depends on you. Obviously, it's not going to pay you. The full-time job offers is after you graduate. So it comes under OPT and STEM OPT or H1B. So OPT is optional practical training. That's for 1 year after you graduate. ஸோ நீங்கள் கிராஜுவேட் ஆன அப்புறம் ஒரு வருஷம்க்கு நீங்கள் வந்து ஒர்க் பண்ணலாம் if you have a job offer. The STEM OPT வந்து, this is why I told you to like make sure that your program is a STEM program, because 1 year OPT முடிஞ்ச அப்புறம் if you have a STEM degree, meaning you graduated from a STEM program, you can work for additional 2 years. So அதனால STEM OPT ன்னு சொல்றாங்க. So typically you have like 3 years of work visa here. And then in the 3 வருஷத்துல your company will sponsor you on an H1B visa. So H1B visa will offer you more years of like work. இதுல வந்து நீங்க அங்கனா இருக்க வேணாம் திரும்பி வந்துடணும் அப்படின்னா that's your plan. So you can like plan accordingly. But mandatory-ஆ உங்களுக்கு வந்து ஒரு வருஷம் OPT, ஒரு வருஷம் work visa is guaranteed, and then when you get a job, and then you have the 2 years STEM OPT as well that you can utilize. So what are some of the things that you need to keep in mind when you consider internships and full-time offers? Plan ahead. முன்னாடி day 1 நீங்க land ஆனதுல இருந்தே just have an idea of what you want to do. அதுக்கு நான் அப்பவே வேலைலாம் செய்ய சொல்லல. Just speak to people, your seniors, your alumni, and just get an idea of how the process looks like. And also keep track of the timeline, because internships வந்து summer internships, winter internships இருக்கும். So summer internships-na வந்து or at least 6-7 months முன்னாடி apply பண்ற மாதிரி இருக்கும். So வந்து just keep track of how things are turning out. Understand the process. So the visa and the process is very important. So just do your research and then get to know how it works. Utilize your network and resources. Your school will have resources. LinkedIn is an excellent resource. Indeed, Glassdoor. Just understand what the companies expect, read through interviews, speak to people, and then you'll get an idea of how it is. So utilize the resources efficiently. Tailor and review resume. This is an extremely important step. The resume is everything. It's everything that you're going to have throughout your job search. So you have to have individual customized resumes for every job you apply. It's not going to be the same resume. So tailor it according to the requirements and review your resume. You can do it with your peers, friends ஓட பண்ணலாம், உங்க அப்பா அம்மாவோட பண்ணலாம், ஸ்கூல்ல வந்து counselors இருப்பாங்க அவங்களோட பண்ணலாம், யார் கூட வேணா பண்ணலாம், but you need to review, make sure there are no errors and it looks and reads well. Okay, so how does the process looks like? Hiring எப்படி இருக்கும் அப்படின்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, so there'll be an application of referrals. So application is online application. LinkedIn, Glassdoor, any kind of like online job site that has even the company's website. You just go online, upload your resume, your cover letter, if required cover letter, SOP ஒரே மாதிரி தான் உங்களை பத்தி சொல்வீங்க. So that's not mandatory. Some of the companies request it. So you'll have an application, you apply online, and you wait for the company to respond to you. Or a referral. So Annapurni சொன்ன மாதிரி word of mouth. So when you like speak to people, when you know people, they're going to refer you if they work in the company. So hey, I have this candidate that I know. Do you want to consider them for this job? And that hiring manager is going to look at your resume directly and they're going to call you. So referral or an application works. Once you finish that, you will get an email asking you to schedule a phone interview. So this is like the first step. Usually somebody from the HR department or the hiring manager will speak to you over the phone just to assess your technical capacity or just to see where you are at, and if your background, your visa and stuff like that, just the basic things. It's going to last for like 30 minutes. So the phone interview is where you kind of make a good impact so you can move on to the next step. The next step is usually a coding or a tech interview or a take-home assignment. So coding tech interview, coding can be on-site or online. So if COVID nala, it's online. So they will give you a problem. They'll give you a time. Time will be running for 20 or 30 minutes. And you need to solve the problem. I think this is kind of like a step in our placements as well. Excuse me, sorry. And then a tech interview. So there'll be a panel or just one member of the company that's going to ask you questions and you're going to answer them. Pretty simple. Or a take-home assignment. You'll be given a project and then you have to solve the problem and submit it to them. Build a model or like presentation, whatever it is, you need to do that. That can be done there. I'm sorry, I'm having a scratchy throat. And then the final interview. This is usually on-site. You go on-site, you get to meet the members, you speak with them. Excuse me. And then you get to know the company. They're going to ask you some behavioral questions and then you answer them and you come back home. And then you just wait patiently for the email that says, congratulations, we'd like to extend you an offer. So you got the offer and then you get started from there. So I think we have reached to like the final slide. I'm just gonna like give you an overview on what I did, what my timeline looks like, what your timeline looks like over here. So you are over here, right? So you're over here. You're probably just getting started, or if you're in a final semester, you already like given it a thought. So the first thing is to understand the process and start early, like I said. So I've given you a list of like things that you need to like look at, right? So there are things that like the CPT and SOP and LORs and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure we'll be having other sessions as well. So the list of things that you need to look at and understand. So visa is an extremely important process that you need to understand. Do you want to settle down here? Do you want to go back to India? What do you want to do here? So understand the process early in the step. Now under 2017, I graduated in 2017 and I decided to do my master's in my second year. So second year na onum panala. Third year, so I think I started my prep in my third year, my GRE and TOEFL prep. Romba somberitanama da aarambichen, didn't do like, you know, extra badge and prep or something. Just looked at how the exam is and stuff like that. Just started from there. And then towards the end of my third year is when I gave my GRE and TOEFL. So that is when I had like some serious study and I gave that. And then by then I had an idea of how it works, what I need to do next. And, you know, I was kind of like confident on what I want to do and I thought I was better prepared. So that is important. Start as early as possible and understand the process. The next is the GRE TOEFL. Like I said, I gave it in my third year and then I gave my GRE twice because my first score wasn't satisfying. So you can do that if you're not satisfied with the first score. And I submitted the second score. So, you know, it's always good to have some time. Give your GRE first. If you're not satisfied, just do it again. And then do the TOEFL. So you'll get a score and then submit the scores when you do that. இதுக்கு prep வேணுமா நான் வெளியில போயிட்டு படிக்கணுமா அப்படின்னு கேட்டிங்கன்னா my personal opinion, not really. There are a lot of resources on the internet that you can use. The ETS book, the official guide for GRE, is a great resource. That's all is required. அதுல இருக்க ப்ராப்ளம்ஸ் நீங்க ப்ராக்டிஸ் பண்ணிட்டு நான் பண்ணினாவே you'll be good, like நல்லா கான்ஃபிடென்ட்டா இருப்பீங்க. I use the prep resource called Magoosh. So that's an online prep thing where you can practice tests and then you can like you know it's gonna show you where you're weak, where you're not scoring much, and you can just like practice until you're confident. So that's a great resource for you to identify your strengths and weakness and to customize your tests accordingly for practice. TOEFL பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் வந்து it's a very simple test if you ask me. So ஒரு நாள் போதும், ஒரு evening போதும். You just understand how TOEFL is like. The exam is like, the structure, the kind of question that they're gonna ask. And then you're just gonna go on the next day and write. Enna it's a very long, rendume vandu periya, like it's a very lengthy examination. So just make sure you have enough sleep and you there's a break for both exams. So utilize the break well, just like calm yourself down, eat something, drink something, and go take the test. You'll do fine. Trust me, it's not hard at all. We have given much harder exams in Anna University, so don't worry about it. Application packet. So LORs, SOP, resume. Either one the fourth year start பண்ணிடுங்க. Just speak to your professors, the ones that know you well. I got it from Anuradha ma'am and HOD. ஸோ வந்து நீங்க முருகவல்லி மேம் நீங்க வந்துட்டு உங்களுக்கு நல்லா தெரிஞ்ச ப்ரொஃபஸர்ஸ் கிட்ட வந்து உங்களை பத்தி சொல்லுங்க. மேக் ஷூர் தே நோ அபவுட் யூ, யுவர் பிளான்ஸ் அண்ட் எவ்ரிதிங், அண்ட் தென் யூ டிராஃப்ட் அ லெட்டர் ஆஃப் ரெக்கமெண்டேஷன் accordingly. So அதில் வந்து என்ன எழுதணும்னா the lot of samples online. So there are a lot of samples and examples online. Keep it inspirational. அதுல இருந்து inspiration மட்டும் எடுத்துக்கோங்க. Don't copy it. Like உங்களை பத்தி நீங்க எழுத போறீங்க. You're selling yourself to the admissions committee. They should be surprised to like look at your LORs and SOPs. So you list your past accomplishments, your course, your class participation, your exam scores, or how well versed you are in that subject. So அந்த மாதிரி விஷயங்கள் வந்து you can elaborate and then you can get an LOR. Again, SOP. Please be creative. Please do be creative. That's what's expected by the admissions committee. Creative-ஆ ஒரு நல்ல ஒரு story or flow இருக்கணும். Your past accomplishments, your present, what you're doing now, and then what your future goal is. Why would you want to go to the university? Why are you interested in the program? Why are you an ideal candidate? What do you intend to do in the future after graduating? So just keep it simple, keep it interesting, and you're good. And then review it with your peers, your parents, your professors, or anybody that you see fit to make sure it's great. Your resume, again, it's very simple, clear, crisp. So resume, I'm pretty sure you're the pros here, so I'm going to leave it to you. அப்புறம் வந்து அதை முடிச்சுட்டு shortlist universities வரும். So shortlisting universities just have a bunch of like universities. I just realized I spelled universities wrong, sorry. So I have a bunch of universities, you know, that you're interested in. Just Google and then speak to the alumni, speak to your seniors as to what universities are like the most popular, or what I would just go with what universities you're interested in terms of program. நீங்க தேடுற ப்ரோக்ராம் எந்த யூனிவர்சிட்டியில இருக்கு, எல்லா யூனிவர்சிட்டிலையும் எல்லா ப்ரோக்ராமும் இருக்காது. ஸோ நீங்க தேடுற ப்ரோக்ராம் எங்க இருக்குன்றத பொறுத்து நீங்க யூனிவர்சிட்டி ஷார்ட் லிஸ்ட் பண்ணுங்க. ஒரு 20-25 யூனிவர்சிட்டி ஷார்ட் லிஸ்ட் பண்ணிட்டு and then go from there. Speak to your seniors, speak to the alumni, speak to the university itself. They'll give you a virtual tour. அதெல்லாம் இருக்கு. ஸோ எங்கே அந்த யூனிவர்சிட்டி எங்கே இருக்குது, நான் எங்கே வேலை பார்க்க போகிறேன், அதெல்லாம் பொறுத்து இட் கம்ஸ் டவுன் டு லைக் 5 to 6 யூனிவர்சிட்டிஸ். அது ரொம்ப அது வந்து ஒரு ஐடியல் ஒரு நம்பர். 5 or 6 யூனிவர்சிட்டிஸ் நீங்கள் அப்ளை பண்ணிங்கன்னா அட்லீஸ்ட் 3 or 4ல உங்களுக்கு வந்து அட்மிஷன் கிடைக்கும். ஜஸ்ட் கேட்டகரைஸ் யுவர் யூனிவர்சிட்டிஸ் as safe, medium and ambitious. ஸோ சேஃப் யூனிவர்சிட்டிஸ்னால் வந்து கண்டிப்பாக உங்களுக்கு அட்மிஷன்ஸ் கிடைச்சிடும். உங்களை நீங்க பார்த்தாலே தெரியும் உங்களுக்கு கிடைக்குமா இல்லையான்னு சொல்லிட்டு. நீங்க அந்த யாரெல்லாம் படிச்சிருக்காங்க அவங்க கிட்ட பேசினாலே தெரியும் what is required, what is not required அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு. So again, like I said, it's not one thing. Like உங்க GPA நல்லா இருக்கு, I'll give you an admit, அப்படிலாம் கிடையாது. So it's an all round, it's an overall process. So you have your GPA, you have your resume, you have your extracurricular. So they're gonna look at every single thing that you submit. So it's not just one thing, so don't worry about it. So you'll have like your safe universities where you're sure that you're gonna get an admit. And then you're going to have like this mediocre, medium universities that, not mediocre, I meant the medium, meaning you might or might not get an admission. And then you have the ambitious ones, like if all like an Ivy League or like universities that have like require a high GRE score than what you have scored or something like that. You would know when you start the process. So you just categorize them as safe and ambitious and then go from there and apply to at least 5 or 6 universities. So you kind of like, you know, cover the bases. And then visa. Again, இதெல்லாம் முடிச்சிட்டு அட்மிட்லாம் வந்த அப்புறம் you take all the documents and go to the visa office போயிட்டு you answer the questions. இதெல்லாம் நீங்க பண்ணிட்டாலே விசாவை ஈஸியா முடிச்சிடுவீங்க. You don't have anything to worry about. And then you fly here to the US, grad school வந்துட்டு you live here. Usually நாங்க வந்து we rent an apartment and we share, like we have individual rooms or share rooms, whatever is you know works for you. That's how it's done. You know, you cannot afford like an individual house or apartment when you come to the US as a student. So நீங்க part time தான் work பண்ணுவீங்க, அது உங்க cost of living கே வந்து போய்டும், like your food and your, you know, other stuff, miscellaneous things. So grad school நீங்க வந்துட்டு you go to school and then like I said you work in part time in the morning and then you study in the evening. That's how grad school works usually. So please make sure you start from day one. Like you are interactive, you participate, you go to clubs, you hold positions, you network. This is very important, and just enjoy the process. It's so much fun. It's not something that you would have, you know, like experienced before. So learning and fun, you know, goes hand in hand. So you will do well for sure. Once you graduate from grad school, graduation அப்புறம் வந்துட்டு நீங்க வந்து you'll be looking for a job. So some of them will convert the internship to a full-time job. Some of them will look for a new job. That is a whole process. So just be persistent. Learn. There is no right or wrong in what you do. You don't compare yourself with others. It's you are an individual. Just be persistent. Just be confident. Just be passionate about what you're doing, and you are going to achieve your goal for sure. That is what you need to like understand and intend to do. So I think that is all I had for today. Like I said, it was just an overview. Hopefully that made sense and did not like make you zone out or something. So thank you so much for listening to me for the past 40 minutes, I guess. I'm not sure. So if you have any questions, I would love to answer. Please ask questions. So please. You can also find me at LinkedIn. That's the QR code for LinkedIn. So just like find me on LinkedIn. I'd like to hear from you. Love to hear from you. If you have any specific questions that I can answer. உங்களோட எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் பொறுத்தோ இல்லை உங்களுக்கு கஸ்டமைஸ்ட் உங்களுக்கு கொஸ்டின் ஸ்பெசிஃபிக்காக இருந்ததுன்னா please feel free to email me or connect with me on LinkedIn and send me a DM. We'll be happy to help you for sure. So thank you. Time for questions. Please ask questions.
In what basis American university is better than Indian university in research field or in syllabus framework?
Right. Okay, so thank you for that question. That's a great question. So like I said, it's very different from what we see in India. So India la vandu ipo nammaloda education system vandu ipo நம்ம காலேஜ்ல படிக்கிறதே எப்படி இருக்குன்னா வந்து it's more catered toward getting a job, right? So not a lot of them will like want to be an entrepreneur. Now, so the majority of them, there will be people that are inspirational and would want to like start their own firm and everything. But I feel like now படிச்சப்போ வந்து it was more catered towards getting a job and working in an IT company. So நீங்க மெக்கானிக்கல் படிச்சாலும் mostly IT companyல work பண்ணுவீங்க, ECE படிச்சாலும் IT companyல work பண்ணுவீங்க. Let's say நீங்க மெக்கானிக்கல் எடுக்கிறதே வந்து you are passionate about it, அதனால நீங்க எடுக்கிறீங்கன்னு வச்சுக்கோங்க. Is there a way for you to like go and do the job? இருக்கு, ஆனா வந்து எல்லாராலையும் பண்ண முடியாது, ஏன்னா அவ்வளவுதான் jobs இருக்கு. That is how it is. So you end up doing a job that you did not even want to do in the first place. So in that aspect, inga vandu when you do something, you're going to do it because you're passionate about it. You're responsible, right? So you choose your course, you choose your electives, you come here and you study. So you're passionate about it and make sure you do it well. So once you complete that, ninga mudichapra vandu you also make sure that you get the job that is relevant to that. You have jobs here, so in that aspect it's going to be extremely practical. Like நீங்க சில நேரம் வந்து எங்களுக்கு ஓப்பன் புக் எக்ஸாம்ஸ்லாம் கொடுப்பாங்க, மீனிங் அது கூட எங்களால் வந்து எழுத முடியாது, ஏன்னா வந்து என்ன கேட்குறாங்கன்றது வந்து இட்ஸ் நாட் லைக் direct answer, right? So it's like more conceptual. You need to apply what you learned and then do the exam. So that's how it is. It's interactive, it's practical. So in that aspect you're gonna end up learning things. பிடிக்குதோ பிடிக்கலையோ உங்களுக்கு வந்து ஸ்கில் செட் வளர்ந்துரும் எப்படி இருந்தாலும், because you're pushed to do that. You choose to do that. So responsibility will make you learn things. So the other part of your question was in terms of research and like curriculum, right? So yes, most US universities they are research oriented. If you want to do a PhD, if you want to do a master's degree in terms of research, the US is a great place. Research நிறைய மதிப்பு கொடுப்பாங்க. If you have some kind of research experience, even as an intern, that is going to be helpful. They look for real life problems to solve and then they go from there. For example, I did a research when I was in grad school about education, like why there is the disparity between men and women in STEM education, which is an ongoing thing. நம்ம இந்தியால கிடையாது, யூஎஸ்ல பாத்தீங்கன்னா women are like represented less compared to men STEMல. I'm sorry. So they take real life problems and they do research on that. So if you're passionate about that, solving problems, looking at like the output results, this is a great place for you to be and start working on your passion and research for sure. So thank you for the question. Any other questions? எல்லாத்தையும் நான் கவர் பண்ணிட்டேனா? கொஸ்டினே இல்ல தூங்கிட்டீங்களா? I think you're all fine now. Cool. Okay, so I think there are no more questions.
Not able to hear you. Srinidhi, 1 minute. Colin is trying to speak, but we are not able to hear.
Oh, okay.
Okay, my headphones were playing up.
Yes.
Apologies
Now,
for
now,
that.
now we are able to hear. Yes, Colin.
Yes, so students, if there are no more questions, I think we can wrap because Shrindi in her morning routine has spared her time for all of us here. So I think, yes, Srinidhi, I think that's all for the questions for now. And I'm sure they would definitely connect you through LinkedIn for any other questions they might have at a later stage. I will ensure to share your ID to them as well. So once again, thank you so much, Srinidhi. It was wonderful having you with us. And I'm sure, as much as I said to Annapurni, you will also be one of our alumni mentors for all the students here. So I'm really glad for that. And thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you everyone for listening to me. Thank you, Colin ma'am and Anuradha ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay. Yes, thank you so much, Srinidhi. While I have my final words with the students and before we leave. Thank you. You can please carry on if at all.
Yep.
So, dear students, so today I think we have only around 63 participants. I'm not sure why, if there is another parallel session happening, or I'm not sure. Why is there a lesser attendance today? Maybe whatever. So, thank you so much, students, for making this possible, because this 5-day for further after bachelor's was one of its first kind. We've always been predominantly focusing on the job or the placement opportunities, but then this we really thought that was the need of the hour for each of you to be well equipped with the network that our college possesses. So this higher education club that initiated this event should continue hereafter, very, very frequently, and only with the support of yours. To be very honest, 63 students, no, I wanted many more. I don't know if there are any parallel sessions going on, or if people found it complacent because there was recordings being shared or anything of that sort. If in that case, maybe I think I have to curtail on the recordings being put on the YouTube at least for a certain while, to increase your interest and participations, because when some good resource persons are leaving off their work to accommodate our schedule, I think it is a primary duty to respect it and adorn that and be present. So anyways, as said, we are wrapping up this 5-day webinar series further after bachelor's here today. This 5-day is over, and I'm sure from tomorrow your classes are going to begin for your next semester. So all the best for each one of you. And most importantly, I want to share you 2 things. One, there will be a feedback Google form circulated to you right after this event, to your class groups, through the mails and everything. I definitely want each of you to fill in that, whoever has taken part, fill in with complete dedication. Read it, put your views, put your thoughts, put your suggestions, mention every little thing that you would like to, because this particular series, we are doing it for your students. We are not going to get any benefit from it, but it is for your satisfaction and for your benefit. So I personally think that you people are more responsible to keep this going on a really good growing scale. So fill in the form, not just like இன்னொரு form good, excellent, good, no. I really want you people to take time. Please sit across. Or every day session has been mentioned there. Please mention that as an overall feedback. And there is also something called as a volunteer interest question there. So if at all you give yes, then there are a couple of 3 other more questions that you would want to be filling in. So you people, be it from 2nd year, 3rd year, or 4th year, whichever, be it any student from any year, if at all you are interested to be a part of the representing this club, being a coordinator, being a lead organizer, being a volunteer, XYZ, you guys can make use of that particular column. This Google form will be only active till tomorrow evening 6 p.m. Before that, I want all the entries to be there, and we will get back to you personally with regard for the volunteers and the organizers. We will connect with you personally. And I had got a couple of mails asking, we need sessions for Canada, we need sessions for Germany, and etc. Definitely we'll arrange, but again, it depends on all of your interests and your commitment for this. And I'm once again telling, this thing is apart from your academics. So this higher education thing cannot be a compromise, cannot be a substitute during your class, semester. I mean, your regular classes going on, which will be starting from tomorrow. But definitely, with your interest, we'll fix up a time, we'll fix up a day in a week for this particular club activity that is apart from your placements, and definitely I'm sure we'll keep this going. So students, I want to hear 2-3 feedbacks from you right on the call itself now. So yeah, I want to hear from you, please. Questions தான் கேட்கல, இதுவாச்சும் சொல்லுங்க. 5 days you've been apart. I'm not sure how many of you have attended all the 5 days, but I really want to hear from you. So please. நீங்களா சொல்றீங்களா இல்ல நானா பேர் கால் அவுட் பண்ண விட்டா? I think நானா கூப்பிட்டாதான் வேலைக்கு ஆகும்னு நினைக்கிறேன். Suraj, people have started leaving?
No, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Oh my God, people have started. Okay, Suraj, yes, I want to hear from you.
Yes, ma'am. It was a nice, good session. We got a lot of informative things from various speakers.
Okay.
And we're gonna get an idea of how to study in abroad.
Okay.
So I think it's very helpful in upcoming years.
Okay.
So thank you for this opportunity, ma'am.
Perfect. So you're from which year? People you're leaving. Wait, I'll look at the time and again I'll call you and ask you. So Niharika, I want to hear from you.
Yes, ma'am. It was very good sessions, ma'am. All the 5 days. We will get to know many things that we weren't aware of, ma'am.
Okay.
And we need to know more about this admission process, ma'am. Like acceptance rate and etc., ma'am.
Okay, perfect. So we'll take the, okay, obviously the feedback form will be circulated. I think it's your work to fill in that. Definitely we'll work for that. Perfect.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Shravmati, RS.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
The session was really very good and very nice, ma'am. And today's session was really interesting to hear some new things from 2 mentors, and looking forward more about it, ma'am. Thank you for everything. And also, ma'am, for German and Canada also, we need some webinar like this today.
Okay. Yes, I think I mentioned it just a while. Yes, we will frame. We will keep that coming in the upcoming days.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for that too. Thank you, ma'am.
Perfect. Deepak is just left. Okay, I think if I'm going to do this, people are just going to leave the meeting. Anyway, thank you so much. And I request you to fill in the feedback form once it is shared to you. Anything else you wish to ask to me? Anybody? And as much as you asked each of their LinkedIn IDs, I'm sharing it in the feedback form in the description, so you can copy it across and you can have them. Anything else, students?
Nothing, ma'am.
Okay. Perfect. I think then we can wrap up today. And all the best for your semester starting from tomorrow. All the best, all of you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you,
Thank you,
Colin,
ma'am.
for
Yes, ma'am, thank
organizing
you,
this session successfully.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
with all
Thank
your
you very
prayers
much.
and blessings. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.